The pandemic has affected everyone in different ways, but for those who are actively recovering from substance use disorder, it could mean the difference between life and death. At the Clark Spring Mission, Executive Director Lou Ortenzio explained that admissions to detox and treatment centers had stopped for at least 3 weeks during the pandemic.
We have someone that's out on the street, who's been on the street, who's ready for a change, especially with COVID. That limits even more places they might have to go. And there's a window of opportunity when they're ready for that change. And if they say we won't have a bed for 7 days, I mean, that could derail the whole thing.
But those services are currently open and taking residents. Sober Living Homes are also taking applications but are requiring a basic screening, including taking your temperature and asking if you've been out of state.
Recovery doesn't stop, so we don't want to stop, but we're definitely taking the precautions. Yeah.
We have been social distancing. They've not been having guests that don't live in the house at the houses, and they've been taking precautions. Luckily, we've not had a case of COVID-19 in the houses in West Virginia, but we have talked about what we would do if that were to happen, having a separate room for someone to stay in, and the house coming together and helping cook that person's meals, things like that.
It's not just those services that are affected. Almost all recovery meetings have moved to online, including drug court, which meets over Zoom.
Because drug court's a weekly meeting with the judge and a team, face to face, and it really carries clout when you've got a judge up there in the stand and he's talking to the participant in drug court and giving them specific direction. That's not happened with the same intensity.
I got to attend drug court over Zoom to see what it was all about. I debriefed with Judge Michael Alloy after the meeting.
It was so nice to have you with us this morning, and I'm so glad you got to see that.
If you've never been to a drug court meeting before, it basically goes like this. The judge asks the participants about any challenges that they've had, and they work to overcome barriers and solve problems.
If you look at this, these are the people that you'll hear people make noise about. They should all be in jail. Well, these people have committed crimes that they should all be in jail under the law. But, again, you can ask yourself, what's our goal? I mean, is our goal throughout this whole process to have someone who's going to address their underlying problem? And the underlying problem isn't really addiction. There's something underlying that, which is self-worth, depression, anger.
The court also helps connect people to resources like job and education opportunities. During the meeting, one woman explained that she was going to get new teeth the next day, and that was something that the court helped her do.
The whole idea is to get approach it in a collaborative way and in a community way where we go for all the members of the community can help us, just like this dentist has been so wonderful. And what that meant just to, our participant who's going to get her new teeth tomorrow. I can tell you, if you haven't been around it, to be around people who've never smiled for 6 months, and when they get their teeth to smile, it's just night and day. It's a confidence booster. You feel good about yourself. Shayla, people are going to see you, and they're going to see you with bad teeth. They're going to figure you're an addict or you're, backwards or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not a good impression. So we work very hard at the physical well-being, the mental well-being, eyeglasses, get these things taken care of.
I asked Judge Alloy about what Lou had said earlier, about how a Zoom meeting might take away some of the clout that a judge has over the participants. Judge Alloy says he's aware of the impact of seeing a judge on a bench, but at the same time he wants to build a relationship with the participants so that they feel important.
I think part of recovery is understanding authority, understanding boundaries. And so, I represent authority to them. And I think it's important that they understand and that they respect that. On the other hand, I think it's equally important that they understand that people in authority, and how blessed I am to have the position that I have, know that they care about them and worry about them and are invested in their success.
So there are many issues that people who are in recovery are facing as a result of the coronavirus, but the biggest one is isolation. Recovery coach Tina Clark said that the pandemic is affecting those who are in early recovery the most because they haven't made strong connections yet.
It can be damaging, but again, we don't have to isolate. Even though we're in the pandemic and we shouldn't be out in groups, we know how to make those connections through the phone, through the video chats, through the video meetings that are going on, all those kinds of things. But those who are out there isolating and at home and think that there's no way that they can get help right now, this is just deadly for them. Isolation is a horrible thing, but you can still be with people even though you can't be with people right now. And I don't think that everyone knows that.
A good thing that's come out of this situation is that there's an online recovery meeting happening virtually 24/7 in different parts of the country.
I've actually been on 12-step meetings in Dublin, Ireland since this happened, in the UK, in New York. California is where I'm from, so I actually got to see a lot of my friends who I've known for 12 years and haven't seen since I moved here 10 years ago. I think I've gone to more social media meetings than I did in-person meetings, and I was going to about 6 meetings a week before the pandemic started, and I'm going to like 9, 10 a week now.
That's a part of this situation that everyone hopes will continue.
As much as I love doing my in-person meetings and stuff, I'm still hoping that I'm going to be able to like attend some meetings from, not from my area, just to experience something different. So that's probably something I'm going to continue to do.
I think in a lot of cases, people that may have anxiety meeting somebody in person, that anxiety might be diminished somewhat whenever they're able to meet somebody by video. And in some cases, it can be a bit safer.
Another challenge Judge Alloy says he sees a lot during drug court meetings is not being able to work.
So I've been watching them and how happy I've been that some of them have been able to get back to work. Because I think they really realized not only was work important because it gave them an income, but work was important because it gave them a structure, time to get up, where to go, and it gave them a support people. If you listen to the people who started back to work, they all said how nice it was to get back to work, to see the friends. They didn't realize how much they missed it.
The most important message is that if you're facing substance use disorder, you don't have to face it alone. There are many resources that are still available, like recoverycoachwv.com. Additional resources are listed below.
I just really think that people being afraid to go to the ER to get the medical clearance they need to get into detox, I just really want to stress that yes, please go get that medical clearance and get into detox. And if you go to that form I told you, we can help you find a detox. Or there's always the Help for WV, that can get you into detox.